How's it going, everyone? Session here. Apologies for the voice. This is what happens when it's the morning time. I've never been able to tell you why, but this is just how I sound. And eventually my voice will balance out. So apologies in advance. But welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. We have ourselves the 6.5 patch notes for today in complete form. So I'm very excited. And let's figure out what we've got in store. So of course we have ourselves the 6.5 trailer for the patch, everything inclusive. So check that out. That's really cool. There's my character. What's up, girl? All right, playable content. We have new main scenario quests that have been added, which is also really cool. I also noticed that they just put this on the side. I feel like that's the first time I've seen them put the stuff on the side. That's actually really cool. So I'm happy about that. Character portraits have been implemented for the battle dialogue in the Company You Keep quest in patch 2.0, which is cool. So I know that they put that in the preliminaries as well. We have ourselves the new Alliance quests, which will be a lot of fun. There are two quests to unlock it too, which is really cool. We have custom deliveries. I know they mentioned that as well. We have the Island Sanctuary. There is a new quest where you can kind of get a reward for. That's really cool. I think I saw people talking about what the reward is for the quest line in particular, and I think it's that like cat cape, the one that's in white, that had the Lala photo for it. I believe that is the outfit you get for completing the max rank of Island Sanctuary. Because usually at the end of each rank, when you max it out, there is like a reward that comes with it. I think it's that outfit, which makes sense to me. So we'll see. There's new items for gemstone traders for fates, which is cool. They got the new game plus for the new chapters for the Mist of the Realm, as well as the Legacy of Louis Soir, which is really cool actually. The treasure hunt has new map adjustments for treasure rewards, and for the Grand Companies, we have ourselves a new charge symbol for Crest, which is really cool. And they've also mentioned this as well in the preliminaries as well. So let's see. Furnishings for the design contests have been added, which is really cool. I personally, I saw the Dynamis flowers. This looks really, really cool. And I really like this I like this design as well. This is a very nice design too. And I think a lot of people are gonna really be into the stairs thing for two reasons. One, you can like run to the top of your roof top with these, but also it also looks like there's a lot of construction going on for the building. So for like the role playing aspect of housing, when they're in the process of renovating the building, they're gonna use this and put it everywhere just to kind of like help make it you know, look as if like it's under construction. So that I actually think that that's really fun. I'm looking forward to that. That throne looks really cool. This is from Elpis, which is super cool. I like that furnishing a lot actually. New orchestra also added new fish. Bruh. Like I think they have 4 tiers of aquariums now, right? This thing is huge. That's really cool though. New flower pot seeds. That actually looks really cool. I like that. Lupin seeds. You can get them from NPCs that are. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha, gotcha. It's all of the places where the housing is. Understood, understood. They got new cards for Triple Triad. Oh, they got some of the gods. That's really cool. I like that actually. Holone, I think personally, has been my favorite fight out of the 8 bosses you fight in the Alliance raids. I just love how I love her. I love her mechanics, and I love her voicing. Her voicing is so good. It like hypes me up every single time. The following additions and adjustments have been made to Island Sanctuary. The Felicitas Furball now offers Felicitas favors in which people will be tasked with shipping certain handicrafts. So you can earn unique rewards by shipping these handicrafts within the designated period. Note that a certain level of progress must be made in enhancing the Island Sanctuary to unlock this feature. And they're offered on a seasonal basis. Oh, so I think it's like a weekly. Okay. Interesting. I actually, I gotta tell you, the fact that there is an alternate currency for this is actually really nice. Because you have the seafarer and the islander calories, which is already cool enough. But obviously, the blue calories are the ones that everyone tries to farm and get as much of because it gets you all the really good stuff, and then the green ones are good for like materia. So getting a third currency actually is, I'm kind of excited for that, honestly. Especially because like it's a weekly thing. It's not like a daily thing or like a do it whenever you want to sort of thing. So capping this out on a weekly basis is going to actually be a really cool idea. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. Icon will display in the Ironworks agenda to indicate whether handicraft is due in the current season or next. Oh, I actually like that. That's really cool. Okay. Max Sanctuary has been increased to 20. I already am. I was telling people beforehand that I already know that I like doing the islands so much. So I already can tell you that I'm going to hit level 20 by like the end of the week, knowing how much fun it's going to be. Because I will literally sit there and grind it out. So I'm looking forward. I think what tomorrow is Tuesday when the patch comes out. I'm gonna try and shoot to clear this by Friday. So we will see. We shall see. There's new visions, new items offered by the hoarder. Okay, for cars and stuff like that. Okay, that's really cool. I think that's for the glam stuff that you can get and as you level up as well. So this makes sense to me because there's always like a new mounts. I think there's a new mount coming out for Sanctuary as well. They've always come out with some kind of a new mount. I don't think you mentioned what the mount is going to be, so we'll see. And then there's a new gathering point, new materials, and a new structure. I think they showed this at a live letter event, so that's really cool. It wasn't the most recent one. I think it was like number 78, but this is really fun now. So I'm really looking forward to having this be added somewhere. I'm hyped for that. It looks like they have like watermelon seeds right now added to the game too, which is really cool. And then they got the marble, which is going to be a hilarious animal to find because it looks like it just will eat everything that's inside the farm. You know what I mean? But this thing is like very obedient. I think that's awesome. So you can also now officially copy and paste workshop agendas, which honestly, I still manually crack at my island. If there is an automatic process, I might need to look into uh just being able to copy and paste it for like the current season and the next season, because honestly, that would make it a lot easier. But we'll see. New hairstyle options have been added for Vieira's, which is really cool. I actually really like that ponytail. I don't know where that's from or which character design has that. That's actually really cool. They have new hairstyle options for Rothgar. Oh, they kind of have like okay, that's actually really cool. I like I don't really know. I feel like Rothgars are interesting when they have short hair. I don't have a Rothgar with short hair, because they have like the lion's mane, so I feel like that would be really cool to have as like an option. But yeah, I also appreciate them having the alternative means of being able to give them also short hair. So this is actually really cool. The color of the Endworker icon has been adjusted in the duty support and trust interfaces as well as the Sessiion log. Cool. Okay, just cool small change that we get every once in a while. So I appreciate that. Players are no longer to accept new Undertale's journals until they accept the rewards of their previously completed one. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is it. I guess that's to kind of prevent people from like missing out on the rewards. So like when you do the weekly journal, like if you don't select the items and you pick up a new journal, you actually lose it. So it's actually cool enough that you officially now can't possibly lose the rewards until you actually pick the items you need or want. So that's really cool. Wondrous Tales is still really cool to do, so I highly recommend that you keep on cracking at it. Prizes have been exchanged for available through the gold, silver, and bronze certificates. So it's cool. There is an earring and a necklace. That's cool. Oh, they also added the Anabasius raids for the normal version, the first two trials in extreme, and then the newest dungeon coming out via Wondrous Tales. This is cool. So you can get the lunar tender mounts via faux leaves. Okay, so this mount is definitely going to cost a lot, all things considered. And for that being the case as well, we're going to be switching over from Unreal of Zervin to the Singularity Reactor Unreal, which is going to be Thornton. The Thornton trial, I already know that it's going to be that trial is very tough compared to the other ones that we've had throughout the times. Like the Thornton trial is extremely difficult. I think that it's going to be a very fun raid, or sorry, trial to do for sure, but it's going to be a very hard trial. Mostly because a lot of it does involve mechanics that are with like the ad phase, and there's actually a follow up that happens after the end of everything too. So there's going to be a lot to take in for that trial. I expect it to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited for the Thornton Unreal trial. They have the the sadness emote. I think people have been kind of memeing with this emote visually a lot, and I actually think that this is going to be the emote that gets introduced during the PvP system. Usually they're the new series pass, so they haven't really been showcasing what we're going to be getting item wise in the past, but I think this emote will be through that pass because the last one was the hand to the heart one, and that was also an emote that you got through the PvP pass. So I think that you get this one doing PvP, which will probably heavily entice players to do PvP. And now we have the battle system. So let's see exactly what happens here. For Paladin, ooh. Paladin circle of scoring, increased potency to 140 from 120. Request gap from 320 to 300. Confiteor goes up to 920 from 900. Blade of Faith 720. But okay, so I see all the attacks for Paladin went up by 20. Interesting. Paladin performs pretty decently as far as I remember, but I mean these buffs are going to be very welcomed because to basically increase this is going to be for the this is for the burst obviously for Paladin. I don't expect burst Paladin to be on the lower side compared to the rest of the tanks, but I think the potencies here probably showcase another answer where every other tank is probably doing incredibly well burst wise, and Paladin might seem to be missing out a little bit on some of that, which is interesting, but um, I get it. That's cool. So Paladin can kind of come up to match with the other tanks, so that's cool. Reaper, Gluttony, and Lemire Slice got buffed slightly from 500 to 520 and then 220 to 240. Okay, very small adjustments. So I think right now, from what I was reading, is Reaper was performing extremely well during the end of the 5.8 series, and I think it does really well in the top ultimate. I think so. I think now it is even better than it was before, and I think it'll allow the job to do pretty decently during 2 minute and 1 minute burst windows because obviously Gluttony is like 60-second cooldown, and then Lemire Slice is under the Innistrad combo, so the damage output for this is going to be pretty nice. It's a small buff, but it's a good buff for the Reaper nonetheless. Bard, they increased the Imperial Arrow to 240 from 230, and they increased Sidewinder, which is the 60-second cooldown attack, to 320 from 300. Bard, I think right now, as far as it goes, Bard feels like it's the job that is the least played across all the DPS classes at the moment, especially for the Fizz range. So this is interesting to me that they would buff it, but I think people are also speculating that Bard might be getting a really strong shifted adjustment going into Dawntrail. Um, the theory is that they're gonna not have dots anymore, which I really hope is wrong. I think that there should be dots for the Bard. I like the concept that Bard has for being like a dot class, but there needs to be something to kind of allocate for it in like ultimate fights when the bosses like fly away. That'd be really cool. And also, like Shadowbringer's dots were good because if you multi-dot on different targets, then you actually gained procs for your song basically when you did that. Now you don't do that. So if they did make that change back, I think that'd be cool. Bard would be back again. You know what I mean? Red Mage. Ooh, Red Mage got buffed, which is kind of necessary, all things considered, because I think right now Red Mage is considered to be like the weakest DPS job out of the entire listing, and these buffs were kind of necessary because Red Mage is not supposed to be like the weakest job. I think it was technically labeled the weakest out of every DPS. So this will bring that shift back up, which is nice though because everything looks like it's small little buffs. Like Verfire and Verstone go to 340 from 330, which is nice. Contra 6 goes to 380 from 360. Jolt 2 goes to 320 from 310. Verflare and Verholy both go to 600 from 580, which is actually very nice because it's going to hit that peak number of damage that it wouldn't have without like a bit of variance, but now it'll hit that number a little bit more easily, which is cool. And then Enchanted Reprise, which in fairness, this move does not get used, but it does need to be equal damage to Verfire and Verstone because of the trade-off. Reprise is like your mobility tool that you use when you can't Verfire or Verstone, or like melee combo, so you basically use this as a mobility tool, but like the potency has to match whatever Verfire and Verstone is, so this makes sense, which is cool. And then that's it. No other adjustment for the battle system. Wow. So they buffed Paladin, Reaper Bard, and so I mean the primary buffs that needed to be happened for this patch was Red Mage and Paladin for the most part, for sure. So this is actually good because now I plan on doing Red Mage content, so I'll be able to enjoy those buffs. So thank you. Miscellaneous adjustments for the action descriptions. There's been no changes. I actually appreciate that they've labeled this as like an option, but then there's no changes. You know, because I think that's really important to keep in mind of that too. So that's really cool. The new dungeon, Luna Subterranean, is out, which is cool. That'd be really fun. New trial. We got the Abyssal Fracture versus Zeromus. We saw that little preview during the trailer of the boss fight. It looks kind of insane, actually. So I'm really excited for that. He looks like he's going to be a tough trial to fight on Extreme. So we shall see. I don't expect him to be um, just like a walk in the park, you know what I mean? So that's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that for sure. 640 is also the item level. I think his weapon will also be like up there too, right? I think his weapon goes to 665, which is also the raid weapon. So, or it's 655. I actually don't remember, but I do think that it's going to be a very good weapon relic to put on him if you're going through the raids here, right? Because people are still going through the savage raids here and also the extreme trials, right? So I feel like his weapon will be a very good addition to being able to, make your character that much stronger. And additionally, in the future to come, right? Because every weapon kind of gets like a glowy version. I'd love to see what the weapon looks like visually, so we can see what the glow might potentially look like too, which is really cool. We got Thornton and Rio coming out too, which is going to be really fun. This fight is going to be very, very chaotic. So I'm looking forward to that. Item level sync has been set to IL 570 in the Duty of the Final Day. Oh, so they nerfed the Endsinger trial. Well, or rather they buffed it. They nerfed the player base because you can like if I went in with like 640 gear, I burned the boss incredibly quickly. So that's interesting that they actually brought it down. I guess it's because the part 2 variation of it, like towards the end, that epic moment. So there's like a lot of dialogue that has to be said by, I mean, spoilers, right? Like there's a lot of dialogue that's happening towards the end of the fight, and in order to compensate for the lack of it, because people's first time experience in doing Endsinger, especially now, is you kind of need to know what the cutscenes feel like, because obviously the gear when this first came out was really bad compared to what it is now. So if I had like 660 item level, then like I kill the boss unbelievably fast, and you don't really get to experience the full brevity of that trial. So reducing the item level to 570 makes sense, because that way, no matter what, whether you're a new player or not, you get to experience that trial. So that's really cool. They brought the drop rate of the Rubicante trial up, which is cool. So you can now get the totems to get that mount if you haven't gotten it already. They also did the same thing for the Shadow Flutes, which is the Golbez trial. The weekly rewards for Anabasio's normal has been removed, so now you can just farm those fights. The blades for the Hermetic Tombstone has been reduced to 4. We brought the Thalia Alliance raid. I was actually thinking about this, like, what could this boil down to? Because ultimately, you technically fight. There's 12 gods, right? And you essentially deal with 9 of them in the first 2 alliances, right? And there's technically 3 more left, as far as I'm aware. You got like Althic, Limlane, and this guy. I'm already blanking on his name, but there's not like there aren't 13. So I feel like I had a theory that the final boss of the alliance is actually going to be like whichever one is kind of like leading the charge, since it's not the 12 gods. There's like a 13th opponent, and that's the final boss. So we'll be very curious to figure out like who that is. I'm hyped to find out. Let's see. Role requirements: 1 tank, 2 healers, 5 DPS. There's no restriction for formed alliances, of course, as always. You get 1 item per week. You need that coin now, so now you're gonna get the Thalia coin, which means you need all 3 coins to be able to effectively work on the gear to augment your tome gear, right? To make that better for the raid sake, which is cool. So now you got to do all 3 alliances, which is honestly, it's fun. So it's cool. Players no longer get rewarded crack anthem clusters behind completing Euphrosyne because they moved over to Thalia, which makes sense. The following adjustments have been made to the rewards in Alliance Raid, taking into account their difficulty and time required to clear. So the alliances are getting like a huge shift in the works, especially knowing that people spent so much time, I guess, like taking off their gear to have a low item level so that they can queue into like the level 50 alliances. So they're removing that, right? Well, now it's based on your level. So in order to compensate for that at the same time, they had to basically increase the situation of like rewards, because sometimes you don't want to, like, I personally, like, realistically speaking, I love the Stormblood alliances, but doing them, they're kind of long. So it's kind of just like a, like, man, I personally, I'm not a person who takes off my gear in order to get like the weaker alliances, but when it is the weak alliances, because the reward was equal across all of them, I would prefer the ones that were quickest. So all of these tombstone adjustments are being made for every single alliance to compensate for the time it takes to complete them and also the difficulty of the alliances, which is cool. So now for Void Ark and Weeping City of Mach, you used to only, like, with all these alliances, you used to only get 100 poetics, except for the current ones, right? Now they also include the end game tombstones, which is really, really cool. So I'm really happy about this. So both Void Ark and Weeping City of Mach get 60 causality and 8 comedy, whereas Dunscaith, being the hardest of the three, gets 80 causality and 10 comedy. So, they increase that by like the small amounts, right? And then what's really cool is that because Dunscaith difficulty is equal to that of Royal City and Ridderana Lighthouse, those three get 80 causality and 10 comedy, but then Orban Monastery gets 100 causality and 12 comedy, which 12 comedy for your weekly is actually really nice, all things considered, and especially the 100 causality too. So I really appreciate that being the case scenario. I think Copy Factory and Puppets Bunker, same thing, right? They have 100 causality and 12 comedy, but then Tower Paradigms Breach gets 120 causality and 15 comedy. And now these numbers start looking much more appealing for their worth. So, and then with Aglaya and Euphrosyne, similar to Paradigms Breach, right? They have 120 causality and 15 comedy, which is, it was kind of the norm. You did get more comedy for the newest one, but now the Thalia Alliance will have 20 comedy, whereas Euphrosyne and Aglaya will have 15. So that's really cool. They'll probably increase the the causality amount too, so from 120 to 150, just to kind of allocate for it and compensate. But we don't know too much yet, right? So we'll kind of get like a better sense of it too. Also, now you can use the sacks from doing like the hunt train, right? And also the coins to trade for Divine Twines and Shines, which is used for the Anabasios tome gear. So getting tome gear for Anabasios is going to be a lot easier now, thankfully. They added Abyssal Fracture and Singularity Unreal to the Raid Finder. They removed Golbet's Extreme from Duty Finder. You now get Echo and the Golbet's Trials for both cases. The strength of the Echo and Pandemonium Abysso Savage has increased. So now people will have a slightly easier time doing that raise here to try to unlock top and everything too. So that's kind of nice. Speaking of as well, I was actually realizing that ultimately speaking, for the sake of doing the raids, this expansion, you can't do any of the Savage raids solo. Like when Dawntrail comes out, when we hit like level 100, even if like 8.0 comes out and you can go to like hypothetically like level 110, you're not going to be able to solo the raids. I kind of had that realization. So it's going to be pretty important to actually have 8 players kind of burn through what you need to in order to do the raids, because like every single raid to some degree is not possible to do solo. So I just thought that was interesting. So Duty Ruler Expert hasn't changed to 620 item level, right? They took out the Lapis Manalis, which is the dungeon that drops the 605 gear. So if you're trying to do TSR, you got to do it now through the level 90 dungeon roulette. And now they have Luna's Terrain and Aetherfont there for use. And this will be what it is until Dawntrail comes out too. So they increased the experts, or level 90 roulette rather, to 590 because to kind of compensate for Lapis, which is cool. They changed the item level restrictions based on class or jobs at the time of the duty will now be applied for alliance relays. So the item level required to do these alliances have changed, which I thought at first was interesting because I didn't understand how you would be able to do certain alliances. Like if I was a level 90 job, but then I needed to if I wanted to try to get like Royal City or Dunscape or something, right, I'd have to have a certain amount of item level. But I think what that ultimately means is that like you need a minimum in order to be able to like go into the alliance raid in particular. But I don't know how that's gonna actually work because it basically it applies at the time that you register for alliance raid. So you can't apply for the alliance raid and then take off your gear and then queue in. You'd have to specifically have all your gear off and then try and queue. But there is a minimum necessary to actually apply it. I wonder how that actually works. I'm not too sure now that I'm reading that. So we'll see. Mentor roulette increases to 625. Ooh, adjustments been made to the following instance dungeons. They changed the Drowned City of Scala, the Burn, and the Gimlet Dark. This is to allocate for the duty support system because now officially all of duty support is effectively functional for all expansions from Reborn to Endwalker. So now that includes Stormblood, which is really cool. So now officially they're done with all of the dungeon and single player content that the game has to offer. So now you can essentially solo all the content in 14 from start to finish. The only exception are the trials. So, most of the trials for Heaven's Ward have to be done with a party, right? So that includes like Bismarck, Ravana, and Thornton. And, you got the same thing for Stormblood and for Shadowbringers. Endwalker, only one that doesn't allow or doesn't have a requirement for a trial to be done with other players. You can actually do that one with NPCs, which I think hopefully they'll implement that for all the other trials. I don't know how though, because that might have to shift up how the lore works. But if they did make it completely soloable, that would be fascinating. So we'll see. PvP. The following adjustments have been made to PvP profile. So now notification messages will now appear upon the profile window if there's an unclaimed Crystalline Conflict seasonal awards. That's really cool. PvP help is now accessible from the question mark in the PvP profile window, which is cool. Series 5 officially begins. So this is the glam you get, I'm assuming, for reaching rank 25 in the series pass, which is super cool. So what this also means though is that this series pass is going to be active until Dawn Trail comes out. So we have, series 5 is the final series before the next expansion, and we have ourselves a long time to be able to acquire every reward in this. So and also in fairness, they did buff how much XP you get for doing like frontline as like a daily. So definitely just crack at it. You won't be disappointed. It's the rewards for the PvP gear is really cool. So definitely worth getting this glam set in its entirety for sure. So I'm looking forward to that too. Crystalline Conflict. So this is actually a pretty big patch for Crystalline Conflict, considering that with CC there's a lot of stuff coming in as like UI changes and like we're getting a new map, right? There's a whole lot of new content coming out for CC, which is really, really cool. So a circle now appears in the field indicating the point in which the losing team must reach in order to take the lead. And this also occurs during overtime, which is really cool. Background of the leading team's gauge now starts flashing to kind of indicate who's winning, which I really love that. That's actually really, really cool. So they kind of showcase to you what it looks like, and you can kind of see it pulsating in comparison to where this is at too. So if they're losing, obviously it's dull, but if they're winning, I think this is also really good for like spectators and for the tournaments that they host, because it'll actually make it look much more lively in terms of the watching the game basically. So surprisingly enough, PvP is a lot of fun to watch. I recommend that you check out the tournaments because they are a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoy them actually. And I love this overtime meter that appears when the time runs out. If there is an overtime, it used to kind of just be like big in text in the face, and then you kind of just never saw it again, sort of thing. So for them to actually include it in the HUD is really, really cool. Settings can be adjusted to always display the affiliated teams base on the left side of the map, which is cool. Settings can be adjusted to display the timer counting down to the end of the match. So you can have like a giant like countdown, it kind of reminds me of like Smash Bros, where it's like 10, 9, 8, right? And then it'll be like time or activate overtime. So I actually really love that that is also a function that they implemented. We have ourselves some new items. So obviously this is the Alliance gear that you get. So I'm looking forward to. I don't know which one is which. I'm guessing like tank, maybe like dragoon, reaper, monk, samurai, caster, healer. Or no, actually, this one is more tanky than the other ones. I'm guessing that's like a either ninja, So it's definitely gonna be really cool to actually acquire all these. The grind is now back again for doing alliance raids, which is fun. New recipe added. I haven't seen exactly what this is, but I really like this glam. I'm guessing you craft this, and it's either from the maps, um, because the rewards changed for doing maps. So I think this is the map content, and I really like this set for all that it's worth. So this is going to be really cool to go after. The following items can now be equipped regardless of gender. Oh, interesting. The Omega F and M attire, and the earring and the cuffs. That's kind of interesting and also funny, right? Because like it, I mean, I get it. It's interesting. I never expected them to actually do this with the Omega attire. Uh, so I'll be curious to see. I obviously like my character is a female, so I have the Omega F attire. I would have never thought about buying the M, but I'm definitely gonna like log in and check it out now. That I have that option. I'm very curious to see what the M attire looks like on a male, or sorry, on a female character, and what the F looks like on a male character, and vice versa. So I'll probably check out the M attire when I log in for sure. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the armoire. Okay. Items purchased from the online store can be stored in the armoire, which is really cool actually, because there is a lot of items that kind of vary back and forth between it. I feel like what it usually is event items. So like a good example of this is the Moonfire Fair event we had with the Power Rangers outfit, which is really cool. Um, that because it was an event item that would go in the armoire if you didn't want it to take up space in your glamour dresser. But now online store stuff can be put in the armoire, and that's cool because a lot of the stuff that you have is either like a gigantic one piece like the Gaia outfit, or it's undyeable. So I feel like my only advice is that if you have gear that is dyeable, then it should, even if you have it from the online store, if it's dyed in any capacity, then you keep it in the glamour dresser. But if it's not dyeable, or you don't plan to dye it, even if you plan to wear it, I would put it in the armoire. That way you just have a reason to use the armoire besides just event items that you're not ever using. So I'm sure a lot of people's glamour dresser will decrease in terms of like used capacity, which will be fun. And there's a name search function, which is also really cool. I actually like that as well. And stored items can now be glamoured from the armoire interface, which is honestly one of the small quality life changes that I think is going to be incredible actually. Because right now, I think the armoire, because it was so irregularly used outside of like event stuff, like the access to get to the armoire was kind of a small headache. And I think they knew that because now many people are going to take their online store stuff and put it in the armoire, that they had to make the armoire more accessible. So I really appreciate that too. So that's really cool. When accessing the glamour dresser, the items can now be displayed by category. That's really cool. So that's really fun. I actually really appreciate that. Certain items cannot be sold, synthesized, or submitted for expert delivery missions. Changes have been made to the crafting log. So custom delivery recipes can be unlocked upon completion of the applicable quest for at set levels. The recipe list order has been adjusted. The recipe search will display up to 100 results at a time. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. And then custom deliveries section of the crafting log will no longer display if they have not been unlocked, which is also really cool. Okay, gotcha. Now you can augment your crafted gear from 640 to 650. So some of that gear is going to be making a pretty decent comeback, I would say, because the 640 crafted gear is very cool. And so just being able to augment it will kind of, again, like kind of push for being able to do some of the content that the game has to offer, since we'll have it for a while. So, you'll be able to bring yourself up to speed, if anything. So that's cool. Flying text will now be displayed for items, item quantities obtained via materia extraction. Oh, okay. This is actually a really cool change. I like that. Players can now speak to Margaret during custom deliveries, which is cool. She's a great character, so I actually really appreciate her for that. New items have been gathered for gathering points for gathering, which is cool. Bonuses have been added for certain legendary nodes. a node's location effect penalty displayed when gathering collectibles. Following the justice makes a reduction. You can do it automatically now. So this is really cool because when you have a lot of them in your inventory, you did have to manually click it. So now that there's an automatic button for it, that's really cool. So I think that they do have an option where you can either, like, if you had like 7 of them and you didn't want to reduce 7, you can just reduce 1. There is a way to do it with 1, but also you can, do all of them. But it's just it's a really good quality of life reason too. New fishing spots, new teeming waters. If you have acquired a fish for the first time, it gets marked, which is really cool because the way that you knew is when the fish would like appear, which was good for when it was like really early in the fishing. But then once you start getting to the deeper end of fishing and you have like most pages filled, it is kind of hard to figure out which one did you just catch unless you like remember the name or something. But the fact that now it has like a little icon to tell you that is really cool. So I'm really cool with that. Level cap for desynthing has been increased to 650. Cool. New mounts. I don't know where this is from. This could be the one from Island Sanctuary, actually, but I'm honestly not too sure. This mount looks really, really cool though. This wasn't showcased to us at all in the during the live letter, so I don't know what that mount is. I know what it is, but I don't know where you get it. This could be it could be the Island Sanctuary mount though. I can see that being the thing. New barding, new minions. This parasol looks really cool, so I'm really happy about that one. I don't know where I can get it, but I'm gonna want it. In order to prevent server congestion immediately after the release of patch 6.5, we'll be implementing multiple field instances for Amarang, Ratika, and Rats. Right, because in the MSQ side of things, we go back to Norvrant. So that storyline, I can't. I'm so excited to see like what it'll come into place with. So that's really cool. Adjustments have been made to retainers. Items can be obtained from new items can be obtained from quick exploration adventures. Okay. There's new new exploration ventures have been added, and then there's no fish that you can get from doing waterside exploration as well. Okay, cool. The following actions can no longer be performed while in battle. Oh, I see. I kind of get that considering like the fiasco that happened during the P10S boss situation. So I think what essentially happened was someone tried to either repair their gear or like meld something. I forgot exactly what it was, but basically the boss has a knockback attack at the end of the move called Harrowing Hell, which is everyone's favorite move. And if you did something like that, like if you desynth or melded or died or whatever, then it actually canceled your knockback because the boss pushes you away and you have to get pushed back for how the mechanic works. So you were essentially able to cancel the pushback with using that ability. So now that you can't do it anymore while in battle, it makes sense though. Like, why would you ever change your die of your glam right when you're in the middle of battle? It doesn't make sense. So to make this a function, it actually makes sense. Following additions and adjustments made to achievements. So they already added new titles and achievements. If you fulfilled the requirements for the new achievements prior to the release of patch 6.5, they will be awarded upon accessing them in the achievements menu. Okay, so it's for the gathering stuff. Gotcha. Okay, I don't think I have that, but we'll see. Certain duties and trials now count towards the completion of the achievements. This is all for the tanking stuff, right? So now you can you can make the progress for this if you're doing the new Unreal and new Extreme, and then doing the new Dungeon and new Extreme and new Alliance raid. It will get you these achievements, which is cool. New items added. Wait. Items added to the most recent patch cannot be viewed by checking the show only recent items box. Oh, okay. Items that can only be obtained after filling certain conditions cannot be marked in shops. That's really cool, actually. Okay, class and job icons now display the pull down menu when you search for items by class or job, which is really cool, actually, because I actually appreciate that they can kind of filter out a lot of the gear that you can get across the board. I also like that they introduced also the job and the class icon to kind of separate the two. That's fun. Confirmation prompt on display the gil reward for gear repair of materia or material when the player exceeds maximum gil limit. Okay, cool. Buttons have been added to the following menus to switch gear categories. This is cool. And those apply to repairs, dying, glamour, decent, armor, dresser. The armor is the big one for sure. So that's actually really cool. Okay, cool. Oh, and they have it for like a control setting as well, so that's really fun. Okay. The teleport fees to the 13th moon have been adjusted. Okay. The destination tabs are now sorted by region or by expansion. I actually really love that change, so I'm going to take advantage of that for sure. Players can now toggle the display of job or class icons in public areas and instances separately. So now you can actually have it be set if you're just like sitting in a city or, you know, navigating the world sort of thing. So that's really cool. I appreciate that as well. Icons can be set to display on yourself, your party, or alliance members or other players separately. Okay. You can now disable the edit mode command when using the cross hotbar. Cool. I don't think I have that problem, but turning that function off is nice because I usually don't change my hotbars after like 2 weeks of doing leveling up for expansions. So like when Dawn Trail comes out, obviously like when I max out a job, I will adjust the, the hotbar as needed, but then it's stuck like that forever until they make a really crazy change. Like when Dragoon had to lose Mirage Dive and it was tied to the jump command. I didn't like that, but they didn't take out my Mirage Dive, so I still used it, but that command was weird. So seeing 2 Mirage Dives was just bizarre, but I'm glad they put it back. The maximum number of elements displayed in the HUD layout dropdown has been increased from 5 to 10. Cool. Finding the HUD layout stuff sometimes is actually kind of tricky, so increasing that listing is actually really nice. Change the message to the group pose. Cool. I could literally just, I would like make this background my own background. You know what I mean? That's really cool. New stickers and frames. Adventure Plate stuff has a filter system now. There's new filters added, so that's really cool. Portraits have new accents and poses. You can now record the 12 Circle Savage. The adjustment made to the Party Finder. So Gold Saucer has been added and Quest Battles has been removed. Okay. During a state of inactivity lasting 5 seconds or longer, the cursor will now be hidden during the following: cutscenes, G-pose, idle camera, ending credits, disabled UI display, and the title screen movies. Cool, actually. All right. Animation of gauges that feel when holding down a button, such as when returning to the starting point of a duty, has been adjusted. Okay. A new gamepad type has been added for because of Xbox. True, we're getting the beta for Xbox basically coming out. Oh, the emote is called Slump. Okay, that's like the sad emote that is going to be in the PvP thing, I'm guessing. So that's cool. Following caps have been added to the UI configuration tab. Oh, you can do this for PvP. That's cool. Yeah, they added the general settings for the public and display instances. Edit mode for the cross hotbar. Gamepad with Xbox. Players only with FF14 Aroma-Born registered to the account will have the registration of FF14 Stormblood Plastic account automatically. So now the free trial, this is for the free trial players. Or if you had the starter kit, which is actually pretty cool because I think what this means is that if you did the starter kit and you didn't buy Shadowbringers, Stormblood, or Endwalker, then you just get Stormblood now for free. So that's actually really cool that they're just kind of following suit. I didn't really know that because I've never paid for the expansion, you know, per the release of it. So like when free trial expanded to Heaven's Word, like obviously I was already playing Shadowbringers and Stormblood, so the fact that this is a thing is cool. I'll have to look into that. The following additions have been made to the free trial. So now the level cap increased to 70. Players now have access to the expansion data of Stormblood. Ultimate raids are not included in the free trial. I think this is actually sparking a bit of a debate. And for the record, I'm on the side of I'm okay with this. I'm okay that like free trial players can't do ultimate. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm sure that if there was an option for it, then people would just stop. Like here's the thing: like if I really loved Uwu or Yukab as a fight, and I would do it on repeat like forever, then you know, I would cancel my account and then just constantly do Yukab and Uwu, and I'd never do anything else, you know. And if I can do all that for free, it wouldn't really be worth it. Um, to like just like I wouldn't care about doing the future content of the game. I would just be doing only those two ultimates. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I feel like people are gonna start making accounts. Like if I had the, it really depends on the function though. So like, you know, if my friend was like, hey, I'll make a free account, design it how you want to, then give me information and I'll just complete the fights for you, I would kind of hate that actually. Uh, so I think it just kind of it just really creates a scenario where a lot of people don't get to just kind of like mooch off of the ultimate raids, because obviously the weapons are really cool. Getting the achievements is very rewarding and satisfying. So like, you should pay for the rewarding experience that the game includes, I would say. So yeah, for ultimate raids to not be in the free trial is like perfectly fine. I feel like you should pay for the ultimate, or for the game to play the ultimates, basically. Yeah. In the event that server congestion is preventing travel to a particular world, requests to visit that world will be canceled automatically. Cool. Okay. Estimated travel time will not be displayed when traveling between data centers. Okay. They don't do that. They just do like an uptimer. So that's nice actually. But the problem though is that you can't really like cancel the travel. So if I could cancel the travel, that'd be really cool. Because then I can, like, if the EST date was like 30 minutes, it's like, well, I don't want to stay here for a half hour and then try to teleport to like ether, right? So if there was an option to cancel that, that'd be really cool. But I don't want people to break it, and I would not want my character to be lost in the world too. So I got it though. To prioritize homeworld logins, players may not be restricted from logging in with the characters visiting other worlds during periods of server congestion. Oh, I see. So like if Sarg was congested and my character who's on Dynamis goes to Sarg, then I probably can't log in to just Sarg right away. I'd have to go back to Dynamis to then come back to, which I get that, but it just kind of simplifies the process for sure. Because some people just leave their characters on different servers. I'm definitely a victim of that. I've kept uh my primal main on ether just because we're doing raiding right continuously, so this is actually like a decent change. Additions have been made to the auto translation dictionary. Additions have been made to the PS4 dictionary. New trophies, new music. The Final Fantasy Online logo will not be displayed in title screen for players only with ARR, Heaven's Word, and Stormblood to their accounts. This is for the free trial players and that kind of thing too. So from adjustments to the launcher for Windows and Mac. The old launcher will no longer be available for use. This is the really, really old one. The one that had the black background and everything too. So now the old launcher's gone forever. Rest in peace. And the new one will be moving forward, which is the current one. But you can't switch back to the old one. Is basically what they're saying. Yeah, because they're also removing the function for you to go back to the old one as well. So that makes sense. In preparation for the cloud data center stress test, the cloud data center will be added to the data center selection screen. Access will be available only during the testing period. So they mentioned this basically very lightly during one of the live letters, where basically I think they understand that there's currently an issue with the North American data centers specifically. I think the same thing applies to Japan though as well. So but basically, because Ether, Crystal, Dynamis, and Primal are four separate data centers, and everyone is migrated officially on just Ether, doing Duty Finder content is tougher if you're not on Ether, because the population decreased significantly on the other three data centers. So if you're trying to do dailies, or if you're trying to do, you know, Savage raids or Ultimate raids, right, or even just dungeons, right, all that stuff is now on Ether, and I think that's created a lot of server congestion on those world servers on Ether, but also like you know I can't just be on Primal and then do raid content on Ether, because like it's just a problem, right? So I think their goal is to basically cross those bridges together and make it so that you can be on any data center or any server, and then just all four data centers will be able to utilize Duty Finder and Party Finder, and you can use any you can queue up with any player basically, which will make everything work a lot faster also. So I really appreciate that they're looking into this. I think that's the goal, so that no matter what server or data center you're from, you just go into the internet worlds of doing content, right? So that's gonna be really cool, and I'm sure the same thing will be applied for the Japan and the European servers as well. Obviously there's less data sensors for both regions and also materia too, but um same thing with materia. Like materia is kind of lost by itself over at the Oceania servers because there's only one data sensor for Oceania, but they can't queue with anybody except for people who are on Oceania. um but they're missing out on being able to do content because they just can't, right? So now I don't think it matters too much about the whole like internet thing, because obviously um playing American players versus Japan players versus, that'll be a lot. But just being able to kind of connect some of those bridges together might address a lot of stress that the game might be experiencing because of the player base's selection. Because you're not really forced to pick the server you want, but you don't know which one has what population. So hopefully that'll kind of fix it out. So we'll definitely be testing out this cloud data center for sure, just to kind of see like what it feels like and what it's like. So we'll see. There's an issue. Resolved issues have been addressed. An issue where instead of the bubble inside a stat effect granted by the PvE in Dark Knight, action bubble were consumed even when executing certain actions that did not inflict damage on targets. I have played a lot of Dark Knight. I do not know what that is, so that's actually kind of crazy. You used weapon stacks of Dark Knight. So blow weapon was used during certain actions that didn't do damage to targets. I don't even know what that ability would be though, so I don't know. An issue when the recast timer of the PvE action Peloton was incorrect under certain circumstances. Actually, I did experience this, so I can tell you. I can tell you a really good example of what this was. If you activated Peloton and then went to a cutscene and then skipped the cutscene, Peloton got removed. Very simple. So they're probably just fixing it so that you keep Peloton if you didn't. Because like if you did the recent Rising event, that was applied. Like if you were running through the because everyone has like an alt or two, right? So if you wanted to naturally go through the storyline for the Rising on your own, you could. But if you were trying to speed run it for like your alt character, right, and you wanted to skip cutscenes and use Peloton, yeah, if you use Peloton, go into the cutscene, skip the cutscene, which takes 10 seconds, and Peloton's a 30-second buff, right? Peloton was just removed, so that was interesting. An issue wherein players using the Gunbreaker PvP action draw on junction on a target under the effective cover were granted the effective junction tank regardless of the target's actual role. Interesting. So I actually didn't realize that I had this occur to me because I wasn't paying attention, but this chance of it happening was so tiny. It was kind of mind-blowing actually. So the scenario that I was in was I was playing Gunbreaker in PvP doing just frontline, and there was a summoner who was like on the close of, I almost got the KO on them, but then a paladin came to cover them. So I usually when they use like the guard, I will draw injunction to grab like the hypercharge or hyper velocity charge attack for them. But it changed my blasting zone to Nebula, and I was so confused by that because I doubted myself, not sure if I actually like targeted the summoner or not, but I know that I did. But I didn't realize that my ability changed to Nebula because when I used blasting zone, I didn't see the animation for it come out, so it confused me. But this makes sense actually why that was the case. An issue during duties, Alexander, Cuff of the Sun, Alexander, and or Burden of the Sun, where enemy action height error had no effect on it. Okay. Interesting. Okay. An issue during the Zervan Extreme. Players who were standing outside of falling platforms remained floating in the field rather than just drop. Okay. I never experienced that, but that's the extreme version. That wasn't Unreal. An issue during instance dudes of Eureka and Bows to the front where the status affect rapid recast and not affect certain abilities. Okay. I don't know. Issue where healing over time effective spick and span granted the blue mage action granted by the blue mage action deep clean was not affected by increasing the healing potency effect of the. Okay, gotcha. An issue during Anabasis 12 Circle Savage where the enemy action aspect effect was executed in the incorrect time under certain conditions. Wait, what? An issue during 12 Circle Savage where the enemy action aspect effects. I don't immediately know which one that is. So I like I was hoping that it was coming from Athena in some way, shape, or form, but I actually have no idea. Okay. An issue in the dungeon Heaven on High and Orthos where score is recorded after changing one's home role but not reflected in the rankings page. Oof. Okay. Agenda presets for the Island Sanctuary. Group pose where mammoths would appear even when hide all. That's funny. graphics, a certain gear didn't display glowing weapon effects in that display. Descriptor. Okay. Gear for the fashion. Okay. Okay. Cool. No issues. Rock art issue. Guilty conscience custom can't be skipped in certain conditions. Heart of Darkness. Okay. I think that's from World of Darkness. I think it's from the other line. So an issue during the Thalia raid instance where the knockback effect of a certain boss mechanic causes pets and effects of turret action to disappear. Wild, actually. Okay. Trophy gear crystal. Wait. Trophy crystal gear newly added in 6.5 can be sold to NPC shops. Be careful with that for sure. I don't think there's anything else that really matters at this point. Cool. All right. So honestly, I'm looking forward to this patch. We have a lot of really cool content. Uh, Shout out to the devs for literally just keeping up with the quality of life changes. They're definitely working hard to just keep our quality of life up to speed. And also, I'm glad that they finished the duty support system. Now they can, because I feel like they had a team that primarily worked on that, and then they started to like dial back a bit on other things that they were probably working on. So now that that content is done, that's really cool. Parasol's cool, Minion's cool, Mount is cool. Shout outs to Red Mage getting a buff and Paladin as well. Reaper some changes too, along with oh god, what's the other job? I already forgot what it was. It was Paladin. Oh, and Bard. True. That's really bad actually. So I'm so sorry. Changes to the alliance raids has also shifted, which is really cool. Shout out to the alliances entirely too. Like all this gear acquisition being a thing now is really cool. Because what I will say is that I don't think it's listed here. Oh, it is actually, it is listed here. So literally, you get more points of experience for doing other alliance raids besides just these, which is cool. I think that's a really good incentive for people to actually want to do the other alliance raids besides the ones from Overm Reborn, since you get better experience and you get more rewards for it as well if you're max level. So I actually appreciate them being able to put that into perspective. So honestly, I'm looking forward to all this content. It's going to be really fun and exciting. So thank you all for watching. Enjoy everything that this game has to offer. And I will definitely see you guys in the next one. So thank you and take care.